It's the 22nd of June. Welcome along to Renew Every Morning. I'm Paul Anderson-Walsh and I'm so pleased you're with me today for our latest vignette, Joseph, the intercessor who forgave from power. Well, now, Joseph's story is legend, isn't it? And we could spend a lot of time talking about it, but I just want to take one little slither, if I may, from Genesis chapter 50 and verse 20. And here's what Joseph says, and it is such a profound insight. Listen to this. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Wow. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Isn't that lovely? Now look, Joseph didn't learn love in his father's house, I'm sad to say. He learned it in a pit. He learned it in the prison. He learned it in the waiting room of betrayal. This is how you learn love on the job. He begins his life as an absolute dreamer. He's the favoured son of his father, but he's envied by his brothers, and that envy turns very poisonous, very toxic, very quickly. Not that it helps, I guess, by Joseph telling them stories about his wonderful technicolor coat and how they all going to fall down and serve him. I guess that might have been a little bit injudicious, and maybe he needed a little bit of help with that story. But Joseph's calling wasn't formed in his dreams, unfortunately. It was actually fashioned in his nightmare. You see, he was sold, wasn't he? He was sold into slavery. He's thrown in a pit by his brothers. By the way, for those of you who are interested in the prophetic notion, there is always a pit for the prophet, because pit is a prophet in training. That's where he was. He was tossed into the pit, and there he lay. But he's rescued from there, sold into slavery, but not just any old household. He ends up in Potiphar's house, where he becomes an absolute confidant to Potiphar. But unfortunately, Potiphar's wife gets some interesting ideas about him and wrongly accuses him of rape. He gets put into prison, and there he's forgotten about, left to rot in a dungeon. But God had not forgotten. He gives him dreams. He interprets the dreams, and one of the baker gets out and he talks to the Pharaoh. And Joseph doesn't do himself any favors, by the way, because I think this is such an interesting little twist in his story. When the baker or the baker is about to leave the jail, Joseph says, "Oh, remember me." You think, Joseph, why'd you do that? And he gets himself another 3 years in prison because God had not forgotten Joseph. There was a plan. But sure enough, Joseph comes forward from the prison, and what happens? He moves something really very, very profound. He's not forgotten in the dungeon. Through it all, something deeper than resentment takes root in him. He doesn't just learn to trust God. He learns to love people that never said sorry to him, and that's a very powerful idea. Now Joseph, as you know, is released from the prison. He's called up by the Pharaoh, and actually what happens is he ends up rising to second in command in Egypt. He's like the prime minister of Egypt. Power is finally in his hands. He can now do whatever he wants to do. A famine breaks out, and everybody has to come down to the breadbasket, which is where he is, because he's been smart. He's had a Marshall Plan. He's been storing up the reserves, and his family come to him. They don't even recognize him, and yet he feeds the people who forgot him. It's very beautiful. He protects the brothers who betrayed him. He forgives without any sense of payback, and this is his superconscious shift. Joseph doesn't just trust in God's sovereignty, he participates in it in a very profound way. He's become a confidant of God, carrying out heaven's redemptive plan with no trace of revenge whatsoever. He moves from being the wound bearer to being the life giver, and he doesn't minimize the pain. No, he's clear about it. You meant it for evil, I get it, you meant to harm me. But then he names it clearly. But this is the pivot, but God intended it for good, so that's fine. Don't worry about it. God used what you were doing, which you meant for harm, for good. It's okay. It's all good. This is the heart of the intercessor, someone who carries their pain through to redemption, not just for themselves, but for the saving of many, many lives. See, love doesn't erase your past, does it? It just reframes it. Intercessors don't just pray for others. They stand in the gap because they know what it's like to be dropped, to be left, to be abandoned. Joseph had every reason to close the door, but he kept his heart open. And because his heart was open, he opened his arms. So look, what's our thought for today? You don't have to wait for an apology to move on. You don't have to get even to get free. Not at all. You were never meant to carry bitterness into the place of blessing. Let it go. Forgiveness is the ultimate authority move. It's the thing that will pull you through to the most high and glorious dimensions of all. Don't let bitterness take its root in you. Whatever's been done to you, don't let it define you. Let it deepen you. May you be encouraged. May you be blessed today. And may your mind be renewed. All right. Thank you for being with me as always. Bye-bye for now.